Welcome to my debate of the week, ladies and gentlemen, and I didn't really feel like I should make a video on this situation, particularly what happened with Hana Kimura. I'm actually got her name proper because I usually don't get people's names right, even under situations. But under the situation, it was sticking with me what happened to her, and then the situation with JD NYC 206 with Alexa Bliss and everybody else on the roster, including the freaking fans. I have to address this. I must address this. Look, guys, what happened to Hana Kimura? And hopefully I don't forget her name because I have a tendency to forget when I get upset. A 22-year-old, it's upsetting, particularly for me. Because as I've always said on this channel, the main reason I came here was because I had depression. Now I know I have depression with anxiety. And at one point almost killing myself many, many years ago. Almost taking my own life. I can understand this is very upsetting. And with Hana Kimura, a beautiful 22-year-old girl from Japan who unfortunately had an incident, from what I understand, when she was at a show, she smacked a fan because of some type of incident with him. The fan base attacked her on social media, and it was so bad it made her feel that she shouldn't exist, and she took her own life. My guess, the way she took it, and I'm not trying to glorify this, I'm just telling you how it normally is in Japan if you don't know. When someone in Japan feels like they should not exist anymore, they should die, they go to the suicide forest. They will go in there, and usually they would take their life there. That's how they normally wouldn't. They wouldn't always just do it in a house or an apartment like someone in the United States. They would go to a specific place normally. So it's a good possibility she might have gone there. And I'm not saying that's right. But normally they do things like that. They don't just take their lives in their homes ordinarily. They would go to a specific place to at least do it, they believe, correctly. Now, I don't know if she did that or not, but that could have happened. Now, with the on the heels of this happening at a few days ago, this situation happens where someone saw her death, I guess, and thought cyberbullying is wrong. This dickwad in JD, he deserves to get nailed. So someone pulled a clip from one of his videos that was easily months old. I don't know which video it is. No one knows. And I'm sure not even JD remembers which video that he did the comment. Now, to his credit, before I get any further, I saw him on his podcast and he addressed it. Of course, he had to write a script to be able to say exactly what he wanted. And I'm sure people are going to give him beef for that, saying, oh, why don't you just do it from the heart? There's a problem with that. Sometimes you don't say exactly what you really want. And a lot of times you need to write it down to make sure you have clear thoughts, because when a person gets emotional, they don't really always say the way they want to say it. And in many cases, people don't really think they're saying what they're supposed to say from their heart because they're so emotional. They think it's fake or they think it's bullshit. So when it comes to JD, doing a script is one of the wisest things to do. Even though it does make you look a little emotionless, at least he said exactly what he wanted to say to his fans, and to his credit, he did address it. But when it comes down to this situation where somebody found that clip of him saying, and this is what I understand, Alexa Bliss can't wrestle for shit, and if she was in a bed, she'd just be there, she's just bland as a wrestler, and in bed, she's probably the same way, bland. Now I want to address that. Look, JD was born in the 80s, it's obvious. I was born in the 70s. I'm older than him. He was probably born in the 80s. And he and I are very similar in certain ways. One, we are both from New York. And if you've never met a New Yorker, and I'm saying this to anyone across the country or the world, if you've never met a New Yorker, we are the most unique people. And I finally got that out. I've done this more than once, and unique hung my ass up. I don't know why. But you got to understand how New Yorkers are. We are the most different people you've ever met. We have an attitude, not a bad attitude, but a certain way of thinking that is so different from anyone else on this planet. If you met someone from Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, the Bronx where I was born, it's so hard to explain how different we are, the attitude that we have. We're very no-nonsense in many ways. We just say it how it is, for good or for ill. And JD is a guy who looks like he's in his 30s, easily nearing his 40s, and he looks like the type of guy who will clearly tell you how it is. We've always had a very great flair for the dramatic when it comes to our talking. And him saying that, hell, she's so bland in the ring, she's no better in bed, is a type of thing that someone from New York would say. But that's how they used to say it in the 70s, 80s, and in the 90s. And mid-2000s. We have a certain way of talking. He comes from that generation of a certain way of talking. Now, I'm not condoning what he does. I'm not. But that's the way it is. But here, in this day and age, where people's sensitivity is 10 times higher than it normally is, and due to the fact that wrestlers who are bigger marks than we are, understand, when it comes to wrestling fans and even reviewers, I'm not someone who dives balls deep into wrestling. I still love the mystique of it. I report on it. I give my opinions on it. And my reporting is one of the best. It's very basic. But when you're reviewing stuff like this, you're above regular wrestling fans. You're telling your opinion and trying to a certain extent, no matter who you are, and how your style is as a wrestling reviewer, you break it down the way you believe, no matter if you're male or female, the way you see it. And when it comes to wrestlers themselves, they do it 10 times more than us, because not only they're in the industry, they believe they know the industry better than anyone. So when it comes to this situation with Alexa Bliss, who clearly her fans want to defend her no matter, even if she's good or bad, this created a firestorm that is beyond stupid because of this woman, this 22-year-old wrestler who made a mistake, supposedly smacking a fan because of some attitude they gave. Caused her to feel so like, and understand, this is social media that the fans attacked her on, so dead inside that she felt like she had to die. And for me personally, who came on this channel for depression but found out later he had anxiety with depression, and who himself almost took his own life back in the late 90s. This entire situation is garbage. And you know how it is? This is how it's garbage. The cuff remark from JD was not the issue here. It could have been easily ignored by Alexa Bliss and her fans. But this is what happened. Alexa decided, once it was pointed out by her own fans, to address it, to contact and talk to the other wrestlers in her industry. They attacked JD, and someone managed, I don't know if it was a wrestling fan, it probably was, to find JD's actual name, actual address for himself, actual address for his family, and put it on the net. I think it's called dexting. I believe that's what they call it. That is going too far. Look, I've seen JD. I've watched him for a while now, and he's the type of person that's very similar to Howard Stern. If you've ever seen Howard Stern or heard about the shock jock Howard Stern, who's been from New York, the one thing he loves, the one thing that he always really loved and always emphasized, was his attitude that any publicity is damn good publicity. And JD in many ways is very similar. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. If I met JD, we'd probably be able to sit back. I'm not a drinker, but I could probably sit back and talk with the guy. But he would probably show that he has an attitude that, I'm here, I'm going to show you who I am, and I'm going to get as much publicity as I can for myself. I will still show respect to the wrestlers, to the fans, and anybody else who don't like me. Fuck me. Fuck you. I'm about to say fuck me. But fuck you. I'm doing this. I don't give a damn what you think of me. I love what I'm doing. I love the wrestlers when they're doing it right. I'm going to chew them out when they're doing it wrong. And when it comes to getting publicity, I don't give a damn. I'm going to enjoy my publicity as long as you don't endanger my family. If you do and I find out who you are, I'm going to whoop your ass. That's JD. I'm very similar in that respect. That I don't care what you guys 100% think of me. I mean, the problem I have with my anxiety depression, it makes it harder for me to function sometimes when some people start messing with me. But I understand you got your point of view. You can have it. But if you endanger the people I care about, I'll whoop your ass. Even in my physical condition when I'm injured, I will take your asses out if you're going to try and hurt my son. I don't give a damn who you are. Male or female, you trying to endanger my family, I'm going to get you. And I'm sure JD is very similar to that. But he's the type that loves publicity because it shows that he's doing great. And what they did here by releasing his information, by all the wrestlers, which I understand, Alexa Bliss talked to Charlotte Flair, Braun Strowman, Bayley, I believe, got involved. I'm not sure if she did. Keith Lee got involved in this. Wrestlers that are prominent right now. And Braun Strowman, who's the champion right now for SmackDown. What? Really? You guys are so hypocritical. And I may use this title for this video. They are so freaking hypocritical that they care so much. You've seen years before where they go to school for kids and they say bullying is wrong, cyberbullying is wrong. But you just bullied a guy on social media who, yeah, he did a very off-the-cuff remark that I wouldn't have normally stated myself. Because I understand how social media is, and knowing that my attitude right now with my anxiety and depression does not allow for me to do something that's stupid, unless I say it by accident. I know it would affect me. Even though I would get over it eventually, it would affect me. And I know putting this out like this, someone's going to enjoy trying to fuck with me. But doing that, it would hurt me. But them saying it, the hypocrisy of that, where they say it's wrong to cyberbully or bully at all, and you legitimately had a good portion of the current roster where most of the other roster is still home and they can't travel or they don't want to travel. You do this? What the hell are you? Your pieces of garbage. I don't care about any of you. I'll still report on you. But by you guys doing this, including Charlotte Flair, who I'm not a fan of, who I've stated, she's overrated. She's not like her father, not a great wrestler. She's a good wrestler. She's not a great one. I would expect that somebody who has such a moniker of being a Flair would be smart enough not to get involved in this. Why? Because she's a woman and she wanted to help out her fellow girl? That shows how stupid every last one of them are. By feeding into JD, it makes her look worse. All of them bad. And then, JD himself. As I said, I understand his point of view of the off the cuff, but he's not clear of this. And that's the reason why he did, I believe, on his Monday Night Raw review. Yeah, he did. On his Monday Night Raw review, he did address this in the opening of his monologue. Now, I know people are going to say, well, hell, he's so scripted. He didn't even give a damn of what he said. Yes, he did. Look, guys, not every single time is it wise to come on a camera like this and just say what's on your mind and what's in your heart. In many cases, it'll backfire on you. No matter what. Him doing the script or him literally speaking from his heart, it will backfire on you no matter what you do. But by scripting what he wanted to say, by writing down exactly the feelings he really had and his thoughts and read it, it's easier to at least address all the points he felt like he needed to. For me personally, I'm not very good at that. Even though I do have to read a script for my other show that I do, the animation show, the amateur hour thing, because I need to be able to say what I want. But it's not easy. You can't just say everything that you want every single time it's going to work. Not only will the fans not believe you, you're not going to feel like you've done enough. That's the reason why sometimes people have to write down how they feel and read it. So what does this mean right now? JD now has a lot of publicity. The Wrestling Inc. podcast had to address this. The Off the Rope show addressed this. Just Alex, formerly known as the Lex Man, he addressed this. I'm sure other people are going to address this, and most of them are going to be in favor of Alexa Bliss because it's correct politically. This is how I feel. Both of them are wrong, but one is much more worse than the other. JD made a comment, an off-the-cuff comment, very colorful. Not everyone is going to agree with it, and I understand that. But he just made an off-the-cuff comment, and Alexa Bliss did not have to feed into that. She didn't. But being how Alexa Bliss is, being someone who's gone through, I believe, anorexia or bulimia, I can't remember which one, where she's extremely sensitive, and on top of being a wrestling fan, understand, not a wrestling fan, but not only a wrestling fan, but a wrestler. Wrestlers are extremely sensitive people no matter how you play it. Unless they're from the older generation, maybe from the Attitude Era, wrestlers have come up in the last 10 to 15 years, and many of them are super over sensitive. Like the culture right now we're in, where you can't say a damn word, where someone would try to look up anything you've done on your past and then pull it up just to harass you with. So she's not only having a problem because of, I believe, anorexia, she is a wrestler who is mostly from the early generation right now and highly sensitive. And then everyone else gets on the bandwagon that she works with. Keith Lee, Charlotte Flair, I believe Paige got involved in this. Braun Strowman got involved in this. I believe Seth Rollins might have gotten involved in this. It's stupid that they fed into JD, which shows that they have hypocrisy. Because by them doing that, they are cyberbullying the guy, no matter if the guy deserves it or not. Calm down. If you believe JD was wrong about his comments, saying that Alexa Bliss is as bland as she is in the ring, she's just as bland in bed, someone could just screw her brains out and she just lay there like a rock. I understand that you don't like the comment. I understand you think it's a very nasty comment. But it was just a comment. He's a wrestling reviewer of a podcaster. The guy has over 100,000 subscribers. He does a good job. And by you feeding into this, you give him more credibility. If you believe that he's wrong, you don't give him any credibility at all. You leave him alone and let him just fade off to obscurity if you believe that. The best way to stop somebody is not to pay any attention. And by you doing this, and then worse, go against the very thing that WWE is talking about. That bullying is wrong. And remember, before the pandemic, they always showed wrestlers at school saying, you guys need to be a star. You need to care about each other. Bullying each other is wrong. They just went against everything they just said. And it's not the point that this is adults. Those are kids. You got to be impressionable. Wrong. Remember, kids go to Twitter. Kids go to Instagram. Anything that's covered in Twitter and Instagram, and to a certain extent Facebook, is seen by kids. Where are you showing a good impression of how wrestlers are when you're attacking a guy? It's dumb. JD made his mistake and he addressed it on Monday, apologizing to his fans flat out. But Alexa's not going to apologize. Braun Strowman's not going to apologize. Charlotte Flair's not going to apologize. And worse yet, someone went and, I think the moniker of it is Dexting, where they took some guy's address and they released it to the net. Someone managed to find JD's information, his full name, his family's name, and his address, and they put it online to fuck with him. Now JD will probably handle it. He'll deal with it. I'm sure he will. But when it comes to this, that was wrong. You want the guy to get hurt when you release the guy's information online. You are being a bully, where it's like back at school And I know this better than anybody because I was bullied myself. That someone wanted to get you. They didn't care what class you went to. They wait until you got out of the class and whoop your ass. And that's what happened. This is what it is. The person bullied him. He's handling it well. Released this information. It's like someone grabbed his pants and just pulled his pants down and showed his underwear in front of everybody in the school. And people think he's a bitch and they'll do whatever the hell they want to him. In this situation, having his pants pulled down, like his information, could lead to someone deciding to go to his family and try to hurt them. So if anybody thinks this is a good thing, it's wrong. Because there are crazy people out there that don't give a damn. They could hurt his family. They could hurt him. Just because of an off-the-cuff remark. It's stupid. I don't agree with either side. But I believe that the people from the WWE who's involved in the situation are more liable. If something happens to JD, it is Alexa Bliss's fault. It is Braun Strowman's fault. It is the person who released the information from JD's Google account's fault. Anybody who died, anyone who gets hurt or dies because of this situation, I blame them. But this is just me. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.